Coming in hot from Arizona, this is Trevor
and Troy Howard.
And you're on So Tell Us Time. You can have everything you want in your business. Sometimes you just need a little help.
Every business owner would love to charge more for their services, but sometimes you can sacrifice long-term loyalty for a short-term profit.
Creating the right rituals is key to your business having success.
Are you tired of competing with your competitors? Guess what? You don't have to compete if you create.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of So Tell Us Time. We're so excited to be here with you. Today it is a good day. Holy cow, the end of January is already happening. Holy cow, where did the first month of the year go? So fast. And Troy and I have just been so busy. It's insane. I think we already said this in one of the other podcasts, but man, with how bad 2023 went for a lot of people, there are people coming out of the woodworks right now, and they are like, man, my whole business has been off of referrals and this and that, but in 2023 it just died, and I've got to do other things. I've got to start marketing, and I've got to start doing all this stuff. And it's funny because I talk to these people, and one of the things I tell them, and Troy and I talk about, is how like some of these people have been in business for 10 years, 20 years, and they really haven't built the foundation of their business in anything other than referrals, which is so crazy to me. This is not the topic for today. This is just off topic a little bit, but it's crazy because we were talking about the foundation of your business and how you need to have, and you guys are listeners, you know, we preach all the time, avenues of revenue. You need to have multiple avenues of revenue. And so going off of 2023 and all the people coming in to us in 2024, Troy and I are living out of the conference room because we're just doing Zoom after Zoom after Zoom, or meeting after meeting after meeting with clients coming in, or new potential clients coming in. So it has been crazy. I'm sure you guys know what we're talking about. All entrepreneurs and business owners from last year pretty much understand what we're talking about. But today we're going to be talking about pulling the plug. See, sometimes in business, we just do things because we've always done those things. We just keep doing them, even when it doesn't make sense anymore. So what we're going to focus on today is, when is it time to just pull the plug on that marketing or those habits or even those relationships? Because pulling the plug and doing it at the right time can be crucial to your business's survival. All right, Troy, jump in and let's get going.
All right. So today we're going to talk about some different examples of, places that you might need to pull the plug in a part of your business. And the first one we're going to talk about is sales. And so I want to ask you a question. Have you ever sold a client or sold a job just knowing right off the bat that you really do not want to do it? You don't want to work with that person, or you don't want to do that job, but for some reason, you just kept selling them until they closed, right?
Or you said right from the get-go, this person is going to be such a pain in the butt.
Yes, exactly. So why do we keep selling them? Why do we not just walk away, right? And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one is we want to win, right? We want to get that next sale. It makes us feel good to close another sale, right? Get another job, get another project. A lot of times we don't want the time that we've invested in it to be wasted. We're like, man, I've already put in so much time with this guy, and I don't want to waste all that time. So I might as well just take this job or work with this client. And that happens a lot of times. So, but I want you to think about that. Like, how many times have you, continue to sell, and halfway through there, you're just like, man, I just don't even know why I'm keep talking. Like, I don't want this project.
Not worth it.
Right? So you got to pull the plug on that. The next one we're going to talk about is business relationships. And this is one of the biggest ones. Yes. So have you ever kept a client that you just hated working with, right? They were so difficult. Every single time you get on the phone with them, you're like, oh my gosh, why am I still working with this person?
Yes.
right? So let's look at the causes behind it. Why do we do that? Why do we keep working with someone that, is not a great client and makes our life difficult? Well, one of the reasons is a sense of loyalty, right? We feel like, well, this is a client of mine. I need to take care of them. I need to service them no matter, how they treat me. I need to keep servicing the client. So there's that sense of loyalty there. For other people, it's a fear of upsetting the client, right? They don't want to have that awkward conversation of, you know what, hey, this really isn't working out. And I think we should go our separate ways. For others, there's a fear of losing the revenue. They're like, man, what am I going to do? How am I going to replace this revenue if I let this client or this project go? What am I going to do? Where am I going to make up that revenue? So, I mean, those are a lot of the things that I see, people struggle with when it comes to, those relationships and those relationships that really aren't paying off.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what you really need to do is you need to be thinking about what is that client costing you? How much time are you putting into that relationship? And I think it was Joe Polish back in the day who he talked about how, a lot of times 20% of your client base take up 80% of your time, right?
Yes.
Or at least they're 80% of your problems,
Yes.
And I remember him talking about like, man, what you need to do is you need to fire that top 20%, those people that are difficult,
Yeah.
and and then go find other people that are easy to work with, right? And I'm like, that makes so much sense. So the first thing to think about is how much time are you losing? And I actually can give you an example of this. Again, Trevor talked about how we've just had, Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting for different people that are interested in marketing services. And there is one person that has come in recently, and really nice guy, but me trying to be a nice guy, I've spent so much time looking at different software platforms for him, looking at integrations between platforms, look like researching these other tools and how he could utilize them together to kind of create what he wants. And it's like, I think it was Trevor who's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're spending all this time trying to figuring all this stuff out for this client. Yep. And, is it really worth it? Right? Is it really going to be worth
not a client? We're telling him that we're not the right fit for him, not with what he wants,
Yeah.
So,
but there's, like I said, you need to take a look at it and be like, why am I doing these things? And what is it costing me? So again, things that can cost you: revenue from other clients. The time that I've spent figuring it out for this person could have been spent working on clients that are generating revenue for our company. The other thing is bandwidth. We only have so much bandwidth in our business and in our lives. And if we let those clients take up the majority of our bandwidth, or more than their fair share of our bandwidth, then not only are we suffering, but then our other clients are suffering as well, because they're getting an unequal or unfair portion of our bandwidth. And then ultimately, our happiness. What is it doing to you from a happiness perspective, right? How is that affecting you, your family, your, coworkers, the people you work with? So I really want you to think about those business relationships and those ones that you go, you know what? I really need to maybe pull the plug on that relationship. All right. The next one we want to talk about is marketing. And this is a big one. So I want you to ask yourself, have you ever kept doing a form of marketing without even knowing whether it's working or not? And I can bet almost every single one of you are like, yeah, I did. I did this marketing. I had no idea whether it was working, and I let it run for 6 months. I let it run for a year, whatever it might be, we just let it run. So why do we do that? Because again, it's important to understand kind of our motivations if we want to make changes in our lives and in our business. So why do we do that? Well, one of the reasons why is, for some people, we're just hoping that all of a sudden it's going to start working. Like, let's just hope that I've been doing it for a while and it didn't work before, but now it's going to start working automatically, and it's going to make it worth it. So there's people like that. Another one is just fear of change. It's like, man, I don't know what I would do if I didn't do that for marketing. So I'm just afraid of changing it because then I don't know where to go from here. And along with that is sometimes we just don't have the desire to put in the work to find another avenue of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, man, I am so busy. I don't have time to figure out another way, to bring jobs in the door. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, even though it's probably not working. And then the other one is what we call a sunk cost fallacy. And what that is basically, you know what? I've already invested this much into it. So I just got to keep going because otherwise I'm going to lose everything that I invested. Right. And the fallacy behind that is you're probably, especially if it is not working, then you're never going to get back what you put into it. But we're so afraid to just stop putting it in because then once we stop putting it in and we stop doing it, then that's a guaranteed, okay, it didn't work.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't want to face that guaranteed didn't work. So we keep just putting more into it to try and hope, again, hoping that it will work down the road. And then one thing that we hear a lot is, well, that's how I've always marketed my business. It's what I've always done. And so that's why I just keep doing it. And the problem with that is, again, what worked yesterday does not necessarily work today. So, you need to look at that and make that decision of if that's the answer, well, that's what I've always done, then you need to make a change. Anything you want to add, Trevor?
Just with the marketing one is it's like, yeah, like you were saying, well, people say that I need to do this. I need to be doing this and I need to be doing that. And so I do it, but that's great because they're probably right that you do need to be doing it. But if you're not tracking it, that's the biggest portion of all of it is that these people just don't track it. And so they have no idea exactly how it's doing for them. How much money are they making? How much are they losing? How many jobs are they losing versus closing? Where are they losing them at? At what point in the process are they losing them? They don't know any of this information. And so they just do it because they're like, well, everyone says I'm supposed to, but it's like, you don't even know if it's working. So that's, again, when it comes to marketing, definitely pull the plug. If you don't know your numbers, pull the plug, and if you say, well, I can't pull the plug, then get with somebody like us to help you know your numbers.
That's right.
Because that's the key. You need to know those numbers. So, all right, well, that's good. Let's go over the homework. Look at your business relationships, habits, and marketing to determine if you need to pull the plug on anything. Do that this week. What are you doing currently? Because you're probably doing something and you already have identified it in this conversation Troy's had with you today and said, yeah, I do that. Or, man, I've held on to that relationship. Or, man, I've, taken on those clients because I just feel that obligation, or I want every sale, even though it's not going to make me money. And so identify that, which you probably already have, and cut it out this week. Just take care of it. This is your permission. We're giving you the permission to just cut it out. Get rid of it. Trust me, once you do it, you're going to feel the weight lifted off of your shoulders. So, all right, guys. Well, we love you. We appreciate you. We're going to keep it short this week. We hope that you guys have an amazing week, and we will catch you guys on the next episode of So Tell Us Time.